Celebrity Everyday 26.
Every major monster's strongest attack in Godzilla's movies. Godzilla and the various monsters associated with him have displayed all sorts of impressive abilities over the years, harboring a wide degree of destructive capabilities. Godzilla is known as the king of the monsters for a good reason, having faced off against and allied himself with all manner of other kaiju big enough to get their own series. Nothing shows off just how powerful the Godzilla movie monsters are like their strongest abilities, which run the gamut of apocalyptic levels of force. Some of the strongest techniques available to the various kaiju populating Godzilla's various eras are special one-off abilities, whose usage necessitates a grand occasion. Others are more reliable pieces of a given monster's arsenal, being both their strongest and most used attacks at the same time. Whatever the case, cities the world over should be grateful they'll never have to witness the devastating abilities of the Godzilla series' most iconic kaiju in real life. Godzilla's atomic breath is a staple of his character. No matter how powerful each form of Godzilla is, they will always be packing the atomic breath in one form or another, whether it's a nasty belch of radioactive flames that condense into a painfully bright heat ray like in Shin Godzilla, or a single-shot nuclear cannon that leaves a mushroom cloud in its wake like in Godzilla -1. The most powerful iteration of this ability is, by far, the burning spiral heat ray introduced in Godzilla vs. Destoroyah. In multiple films, Godzilla augments his typical atomic breath with some other energy source to form the spiral heat ray, exponentially increasing the power of his classic ranged weapon. However, his burning form introduces the burning spiral heat ray, a technique so powerful that it places considerable strain on Godzilla's unstable hemorrhaging body. This ray is said to increase exponentially in power each time burning Godzilla uses it, growing hot enough to scald even the nigh-invulnerable perfect form of Destoroyah. As a combatant, Mothra has an odd array of various offensive abilities. While the graceful butterfly goddess doesn't seem terribly imposing for a kaiju, she's capable of producing deadly clouds of poisonous yellow spores, generating gale force winds with a simple flap of her wings, and penetrating the hide of other kaiju like Rodden with a venomous stinger. Whether she's in her larval form or her adult body, Mothra's most reliable and effective attack remains her silk spray. Mothra is able to fire spurts of sticky webbing from her mouth in both forms, depending on the continuity, which are excellent at restraining even giant-sized targets. In the Monsterverse, this silk is even strong enough of an adhesive to restrain even the mighty King Ghidorah, who is only freed from the stuff once Godzilla tackles him through the building he's stuck to. Sometimes, it's hard to beat an attack as simple but efficient as Mothra's sticky silk. Descended from the weapon that killed the original Godzilla in 1954, Destoroyah is one of the king of the monsters' most powerful opponents ever. A being somehow mutated from an ancient form of life revived by the effects of the oxygen destroyer, Destoroyah goes through several stages of his life cycle before settling on his perfect form, a demonic-looking kaiju big enough to rival Godzilla. The being wields many powerful weapons, including tusks, energy-absorbing tail spikes, and a deadly micro-oxygen beam. Yet it's Destoroyah's unassuming forehead horn that makes up his most alarmingly powerful weapon. Extending into a lengthy blade of energy, the so-called variable slicer is able to make mulch of burning Godzilla's torso, nearly killing him in the close battle for domination against the infernal freak of nature. This unique power is among the most deadly of any Godzilla monster. Considering the massive number of different versions of Mechagodzilla that have appeared on screen over the years in Godzilla's movies, it's difficult enough to single out a certain attack as the most powerful. Across the many incarnations of the cybernetic Godzilla clone, the kaiju has wielded laser beams, electric harpoons, finger missiles, and mouth-mounted flamethrowers. Of all the versions of Mechagodzilla, the model also known as Kiryu, introduced in Godzilla against Mechagodzilla, bears the most intimidating attack, the fittingly named Absolute Zero Cannon. True to its title, the Absolute Zero Cannon is a massive energy weapon hidden within Kiryu's chest. Upon activation, the device fires a concentrated beam of pure cryogenic energy that instantly brings its target to the hypothetically lowest temperature physically possible, 0 degrees Kelvin, aka absolute zero. This cannon is able to freeze even Godzilla solid on an atomic level, though firing it eats up 40% of Mechagodzilla's power in an instant.
Celebrity Everyday 26.